Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today, we have a little bit of the Wizard of Oz. We've got lightning, we've got Superman. I don't even know where we're going to go with all this, but hopefully you will jump in the live chat with us and let us know your thoughts. I've got Skullcap SaVant joining us to break down some VSTAG for us. There's all kinds of great qualia out there. Just ask Uncle Cliff. We'll be right back right after this. Oh, and I've got some disappearing folk, just like the Pope. Be right back right after this. Well, I think the video spirits are with us. I got a little thumbs up when I mentioned the disappearing guy, which I'd almost forgot. We didn't even get to talk about that pre-gaming, but earlier today, Uncle Cliff and Heidi were tweeting about how this is all a little fugazi. It's all a little fake.
Sounds like we've been saying some kayfabing, some kayfabe.
Yes, little kayfabe going on. Get your popcorn.
I agree with them. I agree. It's well, it's not like here's where it gets weird. Like the Christchurch shooting and the Las Vegas shooting, for instance, there's a lot of false flag psyop fakery, but then there's actual people that die in the mix, and it really, really throws it off for your average person because they can't compartmentalize this is that and it is also that thing. Yeah,
for all of us. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to try to blow it up so that you can see it. Let me share this tab instead. I'm going to have to bounce back and forth, so be patient with me. This is where I promised that just like we saw the Pope disappearing, he made that presentation on the balcony. This was the Pope before the one that is right now, supposedly.
Our dawn of the age of Leo Pope, right? Yeah, because we're here to disprove whether or not we're actually going into the age of Leo rather than the age of Aquarius. Right. Stag would suggest one certain way. But
I'm with you on that. But this is from what the media is presenting to get us all angry with each other and, in a crisis. Oh, the crisis. Everyone be careful out there. Be careful out there this weekend. But here's what the media is presenting. Pay attention to the guy wearing the green vest on the far right. Let's see if it'll play for me for just clicking. I'm going to have to make it smaller and then zoom in, I think, because it's not
a Facebook video.
Yeah. See the little guy right there? Watch. Oh, yeah. There he is. Yeah. Huh? Where'd he go? Poof.
Just did the other guy wonder also where he went?
I don't know. Maybe the other guy isn't there either.
Well, hold on. Is he looking around for him?
Poof. The other guy turns his back, and then he's gone.
This is what I was saying last week. We talked about this a little bit when I was sharing Max Egan's interview with that guy, Matt Guertin, right? Where he was proving that even the attacks on October 7th, 2023, yeah, 2023, that they were fucking faked, at least in terms of what the video production was that we saw. It was all AI generated footage. So
you just have to question everything at this point.
Well, people are getting riled up on socials about the planned riots for the 14th. There's at least that. Whether those are bot accounts or not, you always have to question also. There are a lot of bot accounts out on Twitter to rile people up, I gotta believe.
Well, and I hate to even suggest it because I don't want to blow anything, which nobody's really, I don't have a big account, so I can probably say it. But it also makes me wonder if it's one of those things where sheriffs will do those big SWAT things where they're like, come get your drugs tested here. and those dumb criminals will go get their drugs tested there. And they're like,
want to know the
"Yeah,
purity in 4 seconds flat? Come down to the
these are
emporium
some
where
bad drugs, and I want you to go arrest those guys."
yeah. There's something else to it. Like this is the chaos that's supposed to blanket our eyes, I suspect, from the real UFO tech. Because here we are, like as we were pre-gaming or slightly before, Israel also attacked Iran.
Mhm.
And how much of that is kayfabe? Like we were even asking that about the so-called Ukrainian drone attack, the alleged one on the airfields, and how that was the thing that brought up the Max Egan video in the first place last week, was that we were speculating on, at very least, the video footage that we were seeing. Whether or not the attack happened or not, there's not a ton of verification we could apply to that. But, if you remember, there was some artifacting and weird stuff with the video production quality of that so-called drone attack.
Mm-hmm.
Russia got rendered last week. But either way, it satisfies Cliff's language that's been in his reports for a long effing time.
For the Israeli mistake.
Israeli mistake, as he was calling it.
And to clarify for everybody, I was just talking to Mom about it before we got started. So the Israeli mistake was going to be that then Iran would win because they had this superior technology that Israel couldn't beat. And as I understood it, before Israel made their hit or attack, Donald Trump did make a statement and said they would not support Israel in an attack against Iran. Mm-hmm. And so Israel went ahead and took that action, allegedly. I feel like I've said allegedly for everything now. Allegedly.
Well, and there's another wrinkle to it. I mean, 2 wrinkles as I see it. Richard Nixon V-Steg, I guess, is what I'm going for. There's a reason why this is funny too, and V-Steg guys like, oh, I'm throwing up 2 V's, but V's also the 22nd letter in the alphabet. So what do you think Nixon was always doing with the 2? Ha ha.
Lots of magic around him.
He was also the one that showed Elvis the aliens. Apparently, there's a shit ton of stuff with Richard Nixon to someday go. Once the current event stuff can have the valve released on it a little bit, we can actually dig into the weeds.
Well, and he wrote little Judy Shelton all those letters about her ideas about money and the economy and the money meltdown and all of that.
It's a weird time.
And backing the U.S. dollar system with gold.
Well, and Nixon was the one that did all that shit. Yeah, it's weird. And the UFO file. It's weird that we're talking about this stuff because Nixon was involved in some of this. So anyway, the 2 wrinkles back to the thread about all of this are, one, the language that is tied to the Israeli mistake in something that we might be able to palpably feel as, okay, they did have a real battle and a real attack, was that there would be the atmospheric jet streams taking radioactive sediment or something up into the atmosphere and spreading it all the hell over the place. And the language he was using was called the ill wind, the ill winds, or the ill wind. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that in every time that he was mentioning that over the years, because the first time I was just going through the reports, the first instance that I have cataloged in the reports that I have at least saved digitally in one place. I probably have on an old college flash drive, a bunch of the older ones too, but I got to go find that. But I got stuff that goes all the way back to like 2009 and then even into 2005 with some of the stuff. And I found some reports from back in 2009, back in volume 0, issue 1 of his Shape of Things to Come reports. And he's talking about moving on initially from the Alter reports, which it initially named stuff, and then he went to these, Shape of Things to Come reports, which is much of the same thing, just responding to the language. And here's some of the weird shit that's being, the language is popping up back in 2009, right before Bitcoin. This is back when he was saying like he couldn't really see what a podcast was or what the new money was. These erratic magnetic circuits being generated by Terra, the Earth, are forecast to be approximate cause of a number of change events over the next few years, resulting from our previously discussed big squeeze as the solar system passes through intense magnetic ribbons, 20 years wide from the Earth's perspective, at the ecliptic plane of the Milky Way galaxy. What does he start? Remember what he's saying now about, like, we're crossing galactic center, the black sun and the galactic plane, and we're breaking all this stuff. It's right here in this report from 2009. So anyway, the ecliptic plane of the Milky Way galaxy is being breached, and our erratic magnetic circuits are also indicated as prompting change or inducing irregularities within the atmospheric and oceanic circuits of our currents. So this is where the currents and the upper jet streams get involved. And these are forecast to be visible within the media, in the mainstream media. He's saying this. Remember how he's admitted by now that his timing on a lot of this language, he doesn't even attribute to what he should have not attributed to it then. But he's talking about late 2009 is when this stuff becomes visible. And over 2010, as the climate and weather patterns shift significantly and the bad, ill winds are dominating set for Terra. So it's the first, but ill winds kept coming up. They weren't satisfied. That's my point, is that they kept coming up into the 2016 reports, the 2017 reports, the 2018 reports. And then they were started to be melded together in similar language subsets as the Israeli mistake. So I always wondered what the hell this thing was picking up, because Cliff did acknowledge alongside the Israeli mistake, there would be some sort of nuclear fallout that the Earth would feel, and that these winds would carry it. And maybe that's what we're about to experience. I always thought in most recent years that the ill winds were just simply the chemtrails.
Yeah.
And we were seeing a lot of that unfold with chemtrails, but I'm not starting to wonder if we haven't seen anything yet, you know?
I think we've had, multiple states now have laws preventing chemtrails. And so the people are starting to wake up. I've even had some of my adult children talk to me about it, have discussions and say, is this crazy weather that we're having? So that people will start having questions about, why are we having this crazy weather? And is it connected with chemtrails? And then this Tuttle Twins, which is a educational cartoon series and book.
Is it for kids, kind of like the Road to Ruta comics and stuff are?
For children, yeah. And it's kind of targeted at homeschooling families, whatever. But they today came out with this Operation Sea Spray. They also came out with the little cartoon that I sent to you about the phones and the privacy.
Yeah, I saw that.
And about using encryption and getting rid of your phone and how the government's spying on us and whatever.
I think the mom was even telling her child about a world before encryption was necessary, kind of a thing, right? Like, it's kind of funny.
When you could just have privacy, because everybody wasn't walking around with a phone and filming everything and taking a daily diary, which then exposed your home and things that would have been private previously.
Yeah.
And so, then everybody gets rid of their phones, or at least encrypts it or whatever. But they're trying to wake people up with these things. But this is talking about that, the experiments that the government was doing, infections and bacteria, cancer-causing agents on their own civilian populations, unethical experiments, knowing that the people trust them. None of the people were held accountable for the harm that they caused.
Unethical experiments like allowing Nabisco to even exist, kind of shit.
DuPont, lots of them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that there's some more bridges. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. There's some, maybe there is some VSTEG bridges component that you can look at. That it's probably not STEG. It's probably just Qualia, honestly.
You're saying bridge, and Trump said bridge today after he said bricks and hammer. He said they're picking up bricks and then they're using hammers. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, bricks, I know that's like bricks, like we talk about versus the SWIFT system, and bricks is another form of payment method.
BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South
India
Africa.
is saying that they will continue to use the US dollar. So that's starting to kind of break apart. But then bridge, he then used the word bridge. There's a thing called M-bridge, which we weren't even planning on talking about this, but you just used the word bridge and triggered me.
It's because it's part of the VSTEG lore. We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Remember with Death Stranding, the video game?
Yeah. Well, that don't even get me distracted on that. But the bridge thing, there's a thing called M-bridge. When I was doing my research with learning all about Veritasium and all of Reggie's patents and all of that, that they've been building this M-bridge, which is the big global transfer method. I just know there's a there. And so something about throwing the bricks and then using the hammer. And remember, the hammer was, remember Pelosi and her husband and his boyfriend and the hammer, and Santa brings hammer in Trump's Santa Christmas pictures. And I've been seeing all these ads for Christmas and planning Christmas early. There's something there about the hammer, and that we're almost at Christmas with the bridge. I don't know. I just know there's a there with the qualia and the language right now.
Well, the main thing to be aware of is, because you're probably spot on with the symbolism of finding out what more of the hammer has to do with it. Hammers destroy, hammers deconstruct, hammers can also build, right? So you have all of these metaphors you usually toss with what they're trying to cast with the spell, the deeper meaning of the symbol. But just quite frankly, with the bridges, we showed,
I think it's a technology, like a software thing.
Well, to get to the heart of it, it's DARPA. It's DARPA, really, is what it is. And DARPA is imprint on us in ways that we probably can't really even comprehend. If you remember that imagery that I was showing you with the United States, the Bridges Corporation from Death Stranding, and it was like a spider web that goes out from DC, like the center of, I call it the DC parasite network. Well, we listen, follow the metaphor symbolism, right? The internet is also called the World Wide Web.
Yeah. And
anytime that we are doing anything congruently together over the internet, we're creating a network bridge. So it used to call it back in the old days. I'm creating a new network bridge from this computer to the other one, even if it was just in your own house. And so you literally bridge devices together in internet parlance in order to do all the things that we do here. So a hammer taking to bridges can even be thought of in that way, right? Like the Nord Stream pipeline bombing is an example of when a bunch of bridges were coming up in the Steganography. Even it's a bridge of conduit from one place to another. So there's a lot there with the mind. And remember, my supposition and argument with the VSTEG itself is that it's impressioning itself on the senses in a way that is so subliminally affecting everyone that's exposed to it in day-to-day advertising and everything. The broadcasting of it in all of the dramas that we watch on TV and stuff. If it's there impressioning itself on your mind, and we have this bridge network, the internet-wise, that also is acting on us and our biophotons. This is where we really, I don't know if you've ever heard of Sabrina Wallace. Maybe not. She's somebody that was a DARPA baby. And what I mean by that is her parents worked for DARPA, and they cast her into the experiment field to experiment on as a child, kind of like Stranger Things kind of way, right?
Right.
And she is a brilliant mind, and she has a channel on Odyssey and Twitter. I think that's it. And I think her handle is at Psi Energy, like psionics, like PSI Energy, just one word. Sabrina Wallace. And some of the stuff she has pronounced is starting to get way beyond even where the MK Ultra stuff that the conspiracy community kind of has already proven is there. It's kind of like a yawn fest now. There's actually shit that goes beyond it that would scare you if more people talked about it more seriously. And this is one of those things: is how brazen is their bridging that they are attempting to do with us, even wirelessly. Those that are part of the Elohim worship cult, that, you know, just using the words of the, you know, the Pharisee sorcerers that would have us live in the fake Maya reality, you know, the fake reality, so that we don't find the technological, advancements that are beyond it. So back to, you know, like the wrinkles in Israel with all of this stuff going on. There's been such a campaign against that impression, even for us to look beyond the drama that our daily lives create and get caught in our hormones and get our vagus nerve hijacked, is that we don't know probably how to really collectively pick apart what's about to happen so rapidly with Israel and Iran. And I think the reason why we're going to get the ill winds is because there's going to be some sort of an event we palpably all feel sicker from. And then on top of that, like you're saying, there's new tech that's already being admitted. Stephen Quast has spent a lot of time over the last even just few months.
He's also full of shit.
He probably is in a lot of ways, Lisa, but that might not be his role. His role might be more kayfabe to rapidly get people's minds there. You know what I mean?
People old. He may be telling the truth. I don't want to call someone a liar, but I will tell you that my friend who helped with the mathematics to help land technology on the moon can tell you that that's old stuff.
And I'm with Ken. I'm with Ken on that one.
Yeah.
But I'm not even arguing that Stephen Quast is factually telling the truth. What he's participating in is the softening of this hard exterior of all of the kayfabe accept
what's coming.
Right. And it's even getting people
of mining helium-3, or that there are these technologies of energy that we could even get to a point of free energy. Because I'm sure people are like, what do you mean? I got a $700 electric bill every month.
If we're not already there already,
Yeah, most likely.
It's occurred to me that one of the things that might be happening is, okay, in Cliff's reports, let's just start there with what's being said, paraphrasing back several reports long of, probably, let's call it dozens of reports. There were mentions of this event, like pretty palpably in the social order and the prescient language that we would be speaking about when it did occur. And everybody would be pissed at Israel. It would just be done. Everybody would just finally say, you know what? I've been holding my peace. Not like people like me. I've been saying it all along, but people would finally collectively look at Israel and say, what the fuck? And it would, because they would be able to be blamed for something, therefore the mistake, and that Israel would get the floor wiped with them. And when you examine all this stuff and you put together what the kayfabe is maybe doing, even back to the Nixon era and the Reagan era and now the Trump era specifically, and back to what Kennedy started with all things space, is the realization and admission that technology is more advanced than what we get on a public basis, but that there are other countries that are now out there that are publicly engineering this stuff. Iran's one of them. Russia is really starting to get there, I think. It's really one of the reasons why Russia's under attack, is they're trying to get their citizenry up and running with bringing it to the public sector so it creates jobs and shit. And I think China's even pushing for that. We were talking in the pre-show about some of the points about China too. And we'll hold off David Lee's financial stuff maybe for a different discussion, because I don't know if we'll get there tonight. But specifically what China participated in over COVID was a really advanced spy network to put the world in a weird place. Cause I kid you not, I talked to the Navajo guys when I was touring Antelope Canyon with some friends up in the North Desert. It's a canyon near the Grand Canyon. It's a picturesque spot where you've probably seen photos of it, where the water supposedly carved it so smooth that it swept through and blah, 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 blah. It's on Navajo land. In order to tour it, you got to go pay the Navajo tour guides, and they have a station there at the top and blah, blah, blah. You get in line and you just walk through it. But when we took our friends up there, it was like 2021, early 2021, they were starting to build these big awnings that were basically a stair step, kind of like in Disneyland, like a vestibule where you snake through and have to stand in line. I was like, what the hell? Because every time I'd ever been there, you just buy a ticket and you start walking and you go through it. And now there's hundreds and hundreds of Chinese guys and gals all sitting in line. And so I just asked the Navajo guys, what the hell's going on here? This wasn't the way 6 months ago. He's like, oh no, it's definitely a new thing. But he called one of the Chinese guys over. Do you know how to speak English? And he's like, oh yeah. And so he comes over. He said, show him your app. So the guy's like, what happened? He's like, the one you take photos for. So the Chinese guy's like, oh yeah, sure. He pulls out his app and he shows me this app. And he's scrolling through and I'm saying, what am I looking at here? Because it's all in Chinese.
Yeah.
And the government, the CCP, was seemingly, they had made this app to incentivize tourism, and they were getting points based on the photos that they would take in key locations. And it was all sanctioned by the government. It seemed like the travel expenses could get paid for if you went and did a good enough job while you were over here tagging all this shit. And I was like, this is the most ingenious spying tactic I've ever seen. One reel. Like they're literally just invading the country on tourism visas for months. And they're just expiring the visa for as long as it'll go. And they're just hopping around trying to collect as many points as the government will give them by going and taking photos in these locations. And it started to get really real when this started happening in Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
It was also around that time in 2021, 2022, if I'm not mistaken, that China was making a big move to get one of their flags planted down in Antarctica so they could use the land for their science experiments because they're not sanctioned to do it. And what happened is they were not granted access like always before. And then they start sending media videos of landing on the dark side of the moon, which we probably know are also fabricated bullshit. But they start sending kind of shots across the bow to our propaganda media, I think is what that was all about, signaling we're going to keep getting weirder and weirder with this stuff until you let us into Antarctica. And they even started to threaten that they would send tourism down to Antarctica. So they would hop. If they didn't get let in, they would start putting cruise ships full of Chinese people with cameras and those apps that I was telling you about to go photo whatever they could in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. And what do you think this has? So what I'm trying to ask you is building all this up. Do you think that there's any level of secret tech that Iran may have already made its way into the public sector? The people there are already using free energy, maybe. Do you think that possibly it's not really nuclear sites at all that are being targeted, but sites that would be utilized to create the new exotic technology such that it doesn't come out publicly because Israel's screwed if it does? What do you think about this? This is just me pontificating a little bit, but I'm stirring the pot.
Then that goes to, so I was sharing this video because this is the little, once again, Tuttle twins showing people that, look, your phone is, exposing everything in your home, your privacy. This is kind of like you were saying, China is using tourism to go around and collect American secrets, and in a little app. Oh, yeah. Like Fake Book, where people are, sharing their digital journal and whatever. And DARPA or NSA or whatever 3-letter, 4-letter, 5-letter agency is collecting information about all of us. But then you went into the whole energy thing, and literally that is what Ashton Forbes was talking about, which I am introduced me to him when we talked about the missing Malaysian plane. And I am has a great thought process about this. We did several videos on this. If you haven't seen those videos, go back and look on my channel about I am unpacks the whole story of the missing Malaysian plane and how there were Chinese scientists on this plane, and they were trying to get out of the US with US technology to escape to China with US technology. And possibly one theory is that the US military put these orbs, these energy things, and created a field or a wormhole and time traveled them into another location to prevent them to escape from escaping to China with our possibly military high-level technology. It's quite an interesting theory. We did a couple videos on it. Oh, I'm not sharing with you. I'm so sorry. Then just like 3 or 5 days ago, I don't know, it's kind of a blur to me lately, but Ashton Forbes did another video where he's like, screw it. I'm just going to tell you what I think. I think our military currently has fusion plasma orbs. I think it has a most powerful super weapon.
Well, fuck, that's what they took the Twin Towers out with. That's what Judy Wood's work is all based off of. It's all the really powerful stuff's floating around in orbit already, you know?
The energy's already out in space. It's directing it with the.
Well, I think for the Twin Towers takedown, they used the hurricane that was off the coast that day as a conduit of sorts to relay the energy that was necessary. Did you know about that? The hurricane that was off the coast on 9/11?
No.
Yeah, never forecast. You know how hurricanes are always, they're always like tracked in advance and shit. No, not this one. No, not this one. It made it to where it was like 20 miles off the coast. You could actually see it in all the photos of the initial smoke billowing from the top of the towers before they collapse. And oddly, the moment that the first tower goes down, the hurricane veers directly off the East Coast and starts to dissipate entirely. The theory that Judy Wood had, which I think is pretty affirmed by the research and the technology that she also acknowledges is existent and likely, is that there was an energy capturing device that cohesively redirected all of that energy that the hurricane had created, you know, all that potential energy, used it up in the ionosphere as a relay somehow and directed it down and dismantled to smithereens the Twin Towers. Because if you look at it, this is the most logical thing. They just turn to dust. They turn into the smallest particulates of dust that you can imagine. And what does that? Fire doesn't do this. Even just natural explosions and pulverization doesn't do it. It was taken out by what she termed as cold fusion technology.
This is what he's talking about. There's no heat signal. There's no.
That's right. There's no heat signature. Probably is probably what he was referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the same shit. We've outlined this in our shows too, and I directed people's attention to Reagan's address regarding space war or Star Wars.
There's so many confirmations around all this. I'm trying to go through here and find where the word lightning is in here, because then he talks about having these lightning. I want to say he calls them like lightning. Like a lightning generator or a lightning
capacitor.
No. Hydrogen atom, integer.
Well, it's not a secret to anybody that studies the ancient Tartarian civilization and all of the cathoderals. Why were they cathoderals? Because they had electric charge potential. You could direct energy to them and from them in the chambers. And so, you know, when you're thinking about the ether, harmonizing the ether with cymatic frequencies, with actual active electricity that you take and you apply magnetic dipoles to, so you can get charge out of.
28, 24.
You know, all of these old structures, they're all on ley lines. There's all of this is all interconnected to the ancient science. And I suspect should you find it?
Well, here he literally says free energy. They already and China's already figured it out.
Free energy.
Well, so have we. Like, that's the thing. Like,
that's what he's saying.
And
is the military?
They're not afraid, I don't think, of the orb technology coming out that we're going to review here next. They're not afraid of that coming out because all the scientific papers have been out there. All the scientific papers are out there. I found all those scientific papers. I can't believe how many they're out there, and I can't believe that other people didn't figure it out sooner. What do they think, that Frank Mead was just talking about dense plasma fusion focuses and, you know, producing gigawatts of excess energy? You thought he was just joking around? You thought he was just working for the Air Force Research Lab, just doing that for funsies? No, that's the shit they've been hiding. That's the stuff they've been hiding that they're hiding for national security. But it's, you know, China's already figured that out now. I mean, it's not 2014 anymore. It's 2025. So the teleportation protocol, they're probably hiding, because if I haven't found that out yet, other countries are probably still working on that. And then the other part is the free energy aspect. Not everybody understands, looking at those videos, that it's free energy that we're looking at there. It's like actually straight up free energy. Free energy. As in, you can get more energy for free than you put into the system that you're creating. Straight up violation of every law you would expect. But it's not. It's not a violation.
Not necessarily.
Conservation is still maintained.
Not applied energy. You need torque for that.
Let me explain it to you real quick. So for one, even if you don't believe that this orb of energy flying around is producing free energy, which it definitely is, it's definitely producing excess energy, because it's just sailing along for free, basically. And while it's sailing along for free, it's producing. Is
this the part
fusion.
he mentions lightning, you said?
The sailing along is
I'm trying to find
fusion.
the lightning
So it's
part.
getting this
I have
free
issue with the
fusion
word
just from
phrase, the
process of
word
sailing
choice he's
along
using
through the
with
sky.
explaining this.
That's
is
what
all.
those orbs are
It's
doing.
like irking me the wrong way.
That's how they're able to create this powerful.
Because all you
laser in
can
front of them as well.
probably
Fusion reactor
suffice
on board,
to conclude
those
about the
orbs.
orbs is that they're utilizing energy that
but even if
is
you don't
perpetual
believe that,
and is not
you
being
don't have
exhausted.
to believe that to understand that the videos show free
And I just
energy.
wish that, you know, like, what does
Why?
free energy mean, and
Well,
what is it creating
for 1
free
second,
energy
let me go
for,
back
by
to
way
the
of, and,
satellite view.
you know, in an effort toward.
Where's the blip?
Well, so that's not my main point of.
Yeah.
He gets into the lightning, and then let me go into.
He's turned.
I'll
give him this. He's turned everybody's attention to something they should be paying attention to, which was this thing. And whether he understands the dynamics of it or not, he needs to like get a lesson from Ken Wheeler. He needs to look up who Ken Wheeler is and probably go have a conversation with Ken Wheeler so he could better understand how to talk about this stuff. But he's at very least connecting the points that we're concerned with today with the Chinese scientists. What are they involved with science that is beyond our comprehension? Because that partially is the point. You can't fault the guy for trying to oust technology for that is even beyond his comprehension, because at least he's given it.
Trying to put the pieces together. Like, he's focusing on the plane. I still think he doesn't understand that what they did with the plane. You know, but that, you know, I'm probably not right either. I think it's good.
Nobody's right or wrong here. I think his value is squawking about it. That's where his value comes in.
And he does a great job of it. But he did say something about lightning on here, and he was talking about having the technology is that instead of going in and having a Fukushima event and destroying the land, then you could have the event and it would be an energy happen, but then the land would not be decimated and then poisoned, basically. And
9/11.
right.
9/11.
Okay, there you go.
That's what I was saying. I was tying it to, well, here, I'll show the book to everybody.
Okay.
This is one they need to probably be aware of too. Where did the towers go?
Okay.
Where did Judy Wood go, by the way? She gave one final conference in 2022 and then disappeared.
Just like that guy on Facebook.
You can watch, yeah, just like the guy on Facebook. But there, so putting this all together, like, I hear what you're saying about all the stuff that he is touching on. And I think whether you can find the lightning quote or not, I believe you that he said it.
Well,
and it was a qualia to you is what it
and
is.
to me, it was a qualia because my little Empire State Building last night was this. Lightning hit the Empire State Building, which got it. Then they lit it up in Superman. And the done in 30 comes to mind for me because 30 days from now, July 11th, Superman will be in theaters only.
Everybody should probably know the significance of Superman too. I don't know if we've described that.
Even in darkness, light prevails. And then it has lightning come down.
Is that the subheader of the movie? Is that what that was?
That's what it says on this tweet. Even in darkness.
Oh, that's what the tweet says. I see.
Light prevails. Superman only in theaters July 11th.
So everyone, this account, by the way, that Lisa's on is incredibly comms worthy. Like, I don't know what she found on this Empire State Building account, but she was on the Postal Service and the initial address of the Postal Service, and we were talking about ley lines, and at the same time, this account just kept providing hit after hit, especially to however Universe is talking to her. It just keeps amazing me when she texts me 4 things a day that this account is responsive to.
This is where, the original post office was built on this location. So anyway,
just in case everybody forgot, like, why this is of significance.
It's significant, yeah.
And Superman is Kal-El. That's his name. That's his given name from his home planet, Krypton.
And the new movie comes out on July 11th with Superman's dog named Crypto.
Oh, that's right. There's that Crypto thing too. Crypto, he's a long-standing character in the series, by the way. He's not like a new entry or anything.
Oh, is he? I've never seen him
They
before.
just haven't introduced him in a movie. Yeah, he's been
in
around.
the comic book.
But yeah, it is interesting though. So in the lore of the Stag of Things, Kal-El and Elohim, there's a reason why he and Batman, the Aryan, go fisticuffs all the time on ideals and ways to handle things. Batman likes to face things like a human, like his Dark Night of the Soul type of thing. And Gotham in his surroundings represents kind of that warrior spirit that is overcoming obstacles in life. He's the only mortal superhero, and he relies on his wits, his inventive nature, and being wealthy helps. But the Superman story is somebody that came from an exploded planet. By the way, funny thing, like talking about wastescapes from wars, Mars is the scar of an ancient war, and it's blanketed in Xenon 115 and Kryptonium, which is an actual element. So it makes you wonder what this exploded planet, what the story that is being held over with Superman and Krypton exploding and him getting sent to Earth as his planet was being lost, and what the ancient war with Mars and let's call it Krypton was, and did the Elohim inhabit that planet, and blah blah blah. It go on and on it goes with the questions that can be asked about where we're going to go with this UFO future. But
and I titled this thing Wizard of Oz Lands in Vegas. And then when I went to pull up this video clip, I noticed they put these red sequin all over the sphere because they're featuring, and Westwood sent me this information this morning or yesterday. I think it
Yeah.
was yesterday. That the Wizard of Oz is going to the sphere, that big Las Vegas sphere, and then it looks like Mars. It's the big red planet.
Yeah.
And they're actually having the legs of, I guess it's the witch, the black and white striped legs sticking out, and it looks like the sphere landed on the witch, and the legs are sticking out, and
Big
the
red ruby slippers from the movie.
and the red ruby. Yeah. So let me play this real quick. Just with you doing the Mars thing, and then I saw this picture, and I was
it
like, wait
fits,
a
Lisa.
minute.
It's part of Wizard of Oz big, the Mars stuff. There it is.
Because it's not coming until August 28th.
Right at the end of the summer.
But then I
What was our
saw.
Wolverine? What were our Wolverine comic dates? June 1st to August 31st.
There you go. Thesphere.com. And that looks like Q upside down. O with the R in it.
That's the original script from the movie. The original font type, I should say.
The yellow brick road, is it going to get colossal when it winds through the Vegas sphere? Or is that winds? There's your winds again.
Ah! There you have it. There you go. The ill winds. I think so. Okay, just to stop for a second, maybe that's some quality and confirmation of our inquiry of, because I read here's to tie it all together, everybody. Like what it seems is that there's technology that even the United States has, such that took down the Twin Towers in 9/11. Judy Woods, somebody you can go look up a dissertation on if you want. She's got 2.5 hour long little presentations on YouTube if you'd rather do that rather than read her big context rich pithy book. But it's worth knowing because it'll give you an idea of what the technology that's already created is capable of without so much as a trace as to what you can recognize happened, and leaving behind no radioactivity, but maybe causing other geomagnetic effects that we can't comprehend yet. I don't know, but the data that Cliff has put forth with the Israeli mistake, the ill winds, Israel losing the battle to Iran, suggests that Iran, alongside China and probably even Russia, they're in a group of countries that are willing to use their exotic technology now publicly without doing it in secret, like the United States has been doing. And I would say that the United States was maybe not as complicit as Israel was of commandeering the technology to create the 9/11 event. We certainly had people in the military in the hands of Israel at that point in time too. Not suggesting that it was all one thing, but if Iran does this, then the world changes overnight, because the admission that we would have to provide the public just to calm their nerves would be immense. The disclosure would have to happen, right, Lisa? I mean, because if there's enough that's there for them to point to, they'd be scared that we would be under attack next, unless the U.S. said, don't worry, we've got better shit than they do. Don't worry about it, which we already know this, but.
Maybe that's why the Golden Dome roll out, and we're starting right away, and don't worry, all this talk. And maybe that's why, this, the Department of, what's this, Department of Defense? Yeah, Department of Defense today, and notice the, what was that from? This
Umbrella Corp from Resident Evil.
Yes,
and then the Lightning Hawk gun that you liked so much that I was telling you about, because it's the best.
And I was like, wait a minute, that's some symbol that I'm supposed to look up.
So if you look up Lightning Hawk, I'm not lying to you. It is the name of a gun in Resident Evil, and it's usually
okay. And then I was like, that's something. So I looked up the symbol. It's this game. Umbrella Corps. Well, then I know that's a thing about
Umbrella Corps releases viruses to genetically modify people in ways that
Did we just go through people?
I know this is the thing though, Lisa. This was part of the work as COVID was coming out. I was because I played these games as a freaking kid. I'm like, this is the plot to Resident Evil. You know, it was kind of
hawk like a bird.
Lightning Hawk gun, Resident RE5, for instance. See, RE3, RE2. It's in all of the Resident Evil games. RE5 means Resident Evil 5. There it is.
Okay.
The Lightning Hawk Magnum. Now, the reason why that was kind of funny too is because the big Magnum pistols originated as an Israeli invention. The Desert Eagle was the big 50 caliber handgun that all of these like variety guns that are manufactured now. This is a fictitious one. It's just what they've always been called in the game. But it's the one-shot kill, fucking just Dominator gun.
I said, wait a minute. What did that guy the military guy that allegedly killed himself in the Tesla to get attention because he wanted people to know about drone bomber at the Trump Tower. Remember the military guy that went and gave his confession to the other military whistleblower guy? And
I don't know his name. He wasn't like a general or anything.
I can't remember his name, but there's a video on it on the Sean Ryan show where they interviewed the military whistleblower guy.
Yeah.
And it was this guy that he was like, felt guilty about what he was a part of, that drone bomber ordered to kill Afghan citizens with drones. And so he went and allegedly killed himself by blowing himself up inside a bulletproof Tesla so no one would be harmed in the Trump Tower, like drive-in,
That was the story. I know the whole story. I didn't know that other information about his reasoning had come out. I hadn't followed it that closely.
So
but it was
supposedly,
that iconic picture of it burning in front of the Trump golden
the drive
pylons there. The
patio thing. But allegedly he shot himself with this 50 cal, and all the gun guys and all the military guys were like, that's a douchebag gun. That's like overkill. No military guy would ever use that gun. Like that's and then they found out that
the douchebags in it, the Israeli army use it. Why do we want to use that?
Well, they said that the DNA of that body did not match that man's son. So a lot of people think that may have been to get attention and to try to tell the story, and that may not have been that man.
Do we even know the bottom of the Stephen Paddock story yet from the Las Vegas shooting in 2017? The day that Q came out, everybody forgets that the Las Vegas shooting was coincident with when Q was originally coming to the fore, the 4chan boards. Coincided.
Yeah.
It's where a lot of the questioning began. But what's weird, like there's a lot of weird shit going on in Vegas, because the day that all that stuff got announced with the Sphere, there's some, I don't know, psyope influencer shenanigans going on, let's say, where they're just killing each other live on stream. Is it kayfabe? Who's to say? But the vagus nerve is definitely being compromised. If you're, well, it's interesting, the Wizard of Oz representing what it does about that veil between conscious reality and non-conscious reality, and the vagus nerve is all that really is in practice. The bridges, Lisa, the bridges. I want to get into in a private session with you after we're done here. I need to show you a couple things that it's going to be boring for the audience until you and I get synced up with it. That'll start to piece together more of what the linkages and the network bridges that bind us all together are, and what my actually kind of terrifying theory is on how all this is playing a part in what we are experiencing.
All right.
But
I won't share the McDonald's thing and the time thing, but I will tell you guys about it. I did share it on Telegram, but McDonald's tweeted out help. And then somebody tweeted back, what do you need? And they said a time machine. At the same time that the U.S. Naval Academy or something, their time clock, the U.S. Naval time clock, supposedly glitched and went backwards. You guys can go
Just
do
today?
your research. Check it out.
Just today, you're saying?
Now you're gonna make me share it.
Well, geez, you can't bring up time spells.
I can tell you. I can show you.
And not show anybody, because that's what this is all about. Is how they're fucking with time.
It's so much fun to me. Okay, here's the McDonald's.
So this is McDonald's post. Oh no, this is somebody.
No, this is McDonald's saying help.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I see the help one. Yeah, down at the bottom.
Help down here. They say help. Tomorrow is 6/12. I'm not okay. And then let's see. Boom, boom. Everybody's saying boom, boom. Lights out. We be ready. All of you are monsters. McDonald's. This guy says, what do you need? A time machine.
Okay, there it is. So it was in the thread of the account interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was June 11th.
That's the same time that, and look, Radio Shack, okay, but emotionally, spiritually, or technologically, or technically, we're outside. Just say the word. Radio Shack responds to McDonald's.
Radio waves. That's all the cold fusion is, by the way. It's just incredibly tight microwave radiation. It's just attenuation of radio waves, essentially, at a higher amplitude beyond your comprehension.
And then somebody responded to them.
Project Looking Glass, you said.
There it is, a time machine, a DeLorean thing.
Yeah. Oh, interesting thing about that is the mall that 88 miles per hour scene where we learned about the time ritual is being destroyed.
You're kidding.
No, let's see. Back to the Future Mall closing. Puente Hills Mall, there it is closing to be redeveloped, so that they're bulldozing it for something else.
Did you put it in the chat?
Yeah. Sells for redevelopment. Here's where it sells. This was an article for last year. I need to find the date that it's closing, though, because that's probably significant to the Stag. Puente Hills Mall.
2024.
Last day. Last day of operation. Don't tell me it's going to be August 28th. That would just be stupid. Last day. Final day of operation for the mall, as it was known, was August 30th, 2024.
So a year ago.
But I guess it was going to be tagged for being destroyed.
Okay.
So it's getting demolished. When does it get demolished? Puente Hills Mall demolition date. Nobody knows yet.
Okay.
Nobody knows. But it's anyway. We heard something about it getting destroyed like the next couple of weeks. But one last thing before we go, with all the weirdness, coincident with the tech would be the aliens. And do you have Cliff's tweets to pull up? Because it's one of the more recent ones, like in the last 2 or 3. that
Oh,
he showed the guy on the Fox News interview.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talking to the soldiers that are on the moon.
Hold on. Yeah.
So with all the weirdness happening with Israel and in Iran, it's still kind of like, it's within expectation. And we kind of knew this was going to happen this way. The technology will be showcased in public probably for the first time, what Iran really has.
Okay.
But this is the more significant thing, in my opinion.
Get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier, including actually going to war and fighting to defend the freedoms that are that make our nation so great. We think this is going to be an incredible opportunity for the Army to fill up our pipeline for the years to come.
Just right under the radar. Yeah, just talk to a soldier on the moon. That's us, you know. So I want people to see the fakery of the kayfabe of NASA, as we've talked about in the VSTEG community also, with maybe a show people are familiar with. Can you bring up those logos again for me?
Yeah, hold on one sec.
On the photo?
Oh, no, you don't have them up anymore. You have something else, some other picture up.
Save. Okay, present image file. This one. There it is. Can you see it now?
Oh, I'm sorry. You do have them up. They're down. We have so much stuff up that it's like too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Sorry. I apologize.
So here's a point that might not resonate with people if they're here for the first time. Like, what the hell is this guy talking about with VSTEG? But hopefully, if people that are watching this show with me and Lisa for a long enough period of time, at least know the operable understanding of the placement of a glyph in plain sight to cast potentially meaningful subliminal spells on your mind in ways to not even control it, but suggest it. So these are two NASA logos. One is fake, one is real. In the work, we all have in my community, when I say we all, it's just the V-Cipher junkies that are on my Discord channel that still engage with me on a daily basis to decode this. We've come across a lot of different things in the work, and one of them is also the placement of lambdas in plain sight, in addition to the V's. They're just an upside down V. A lambda is an upside down V, or vice versa, however you look at it. And in a lot of the Cartesian math and even old Greek formulas that are dealing with things of metaphysical nature, the lambda is a denotator for things that are dealing in wavelengths or trying to find out wavelengths. So it's a placeholder when you find a mathematical formula or whatever sort of calculus that you're looking at. When you find lambda, in like 95% of the cases, what that formula is trying to deal with is approximating behavior of wavelengths, length of wavelengths, color of wavelengths, like a spectrometer, or also trying to deal with the sound qualities, the visual qualities, whatever. Now, this is important, we think, in the work, because that's probably the nature by which impressions are happening upon our minds. It's why I wear a Faraday cage on my head. It's part of the reason why I'm called the Skullcap SaVant, is because I think this shit is happening and is real. And to not have any Faraday protection on my noggin would be to subject myself to the manipulation more. That's just what I think. Now, whenever I see lambdas, therefore, out in public, this gets to the nature of which one of these is fake, which one of them is real. I say, and I've been training myself to kind of disprove, but has only ever proven itself logically true, is that there's something that's bullshit about that particular symbol. If there's a lambda being used in a on the nose logo, or in the iconography of a movie that's being created, something that's produced to impress on your mind in the media. And so I've always thought that because the actual NASA logo, and here's the big reveal, the one on the right with the lambdas as the letter A's, just the arches there, that's the actual real NASA logo. So I've always thought, just based on that kind of conclusion about how the steganography operates, that NASA was bullshitting us about everything that they did. The landing of the moon was a production, we now know. Even there was a funny photo I saw. There was a meme the other day, Lisa, where it showed like the space shuttle landing on a strip, this big bulky, bulbous, not aerodynamic looking craft. And it's and the meme just said, this thing is supposedly supposed to be able to go Mach 23 as it re-enters the atmosphere. And then it shows the SR-71 Blackbird in a photo below it. And this thing can only go Mach 3, which is a complete flat, completely over-engineered aerodynamic marvel. And it can only go Mach 3, yet we're supposed to believe that the space shuttle on re-entry is supposed to withstand Mach 23 speeds without just fucking coming apart, because it's it's going to create so much goddamn drag that it's going to blow up into smithereens. It doesn't matter if there are heat resistant tiles on the bottom of it. Any engineer can look at that and say, any aerospace engineer anyway. So what I'm trying to get at here is there's another series. There's a series on TV called For All Mankind, and it's on Apple TV if anyone wants to go watch the series. And the NASA logo you see on the left is the logo that is in the series that they use. Their version of NASA in an alternative version of history. And in this alternative version of history, events fold very largely familiar with events that, if you watch the show, did unfold in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and so on, with the only caveat that the moon landing that first happened was by way of the Russians. It was publicly acknowledged that the Russians beat the Americans. So the Americans were in this series, they've got a chip on their shoulder and they've got to catch up to the Russians. But the conceit of the show allows for maybe a more realistic version of what NASA actually has been doing out of sight, out of mind, outside of the production of things. Because I would argue that there is a spacefaring apparatus within the governmental structure. And perhaps you call it NASA, call it whatever you want. There's a secrecy element to it. And what this show outlines is what that secrecy element might be up to. It includes things like installing military bases on the moon in the 70s, 1974 to be exact. And Nixon being the one that was instrumental in trying to get this done. The whole Watergate thing didn't happen in this show. They have this progression throughout the 80s and 90s even, where all of a sudden, when we saw our first photos from the Mars rover lander in 1995, in this show, their version of history has the astronauts actually landing there and making, again, colonies and bases and starting to figure out how to terraform it and all this shit. And so I contend that maybe there's something to that suggests exactly what this guy on the clip that Fox just said, that all along, we've had a contingent of military that keeps going up there, because that's the one thing in the movie that they keep assigning the astronauts. It's not the same training program. The people that they're assigning to the base on the moon and Mars are all military people, and they're all being stationed to combat the geopolitics of the other country. However, on the moon specifically, there's this other component, this alien element that the guys keep encountering when they're out on patrol, and the story just gets to the edge of showing you some clue as to who this other might be. But I'm arguing that what that show might be showing is the Selenites. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The residents of the moon that Cliff's starting to talk about. Why else would we have a military presence up there? So, it goes back to the beginning. When you go back, you ask about, however people think that China was supposed to land on the backside of the moon, and Ken properly refuting that certain entities did, certainly not with rocket technology. But it makes you wonder, how the hell did we get up there in the first place then? It wasn't with rockets. It was with something much more exotic. And that something that was much more exotic must have gotten us up there maybe in the 60s, as early as that.
I don't think it was people going up there. Maybe robots or whatever, but
Well, we should talk sometime
so-
about the breakaway Nazis too, because there's that whole component where they broke away to somewhere. And I think we can contend Antarctica, you know, kind of full circle, that is where a lot of them ended up, but off planet, at least into our orbit, might be where some of them ended up.
Yeah.
they
Why
go to the
doesn't
moon?
every president go to Antarctica?
Why does every
first?
president go to Antarctica is another one. So anyway,
All the questions.
it's happening now though, guys. Like it's been, I was joking with Lisa, like to watch all of the steganography work takes you almost 200 hours of congruent time without sleeping. And so it's kind of hard unless you've been in this community to like follow where I'm going with some of this, with this weird esoteric thing as the basis for my conclusions on it, right? This wacky kind of symbolic impressionism that I'm trying so hard to at least convey.
It is really fun to watch, though, whether it's watching the news or a commercial that comes up or just something in your feed and getting that gut that you trust, like Westwood says, trust yourself, getting that thing and going like, wait, bridges, Enbridge, like there's a there, you know, or whatever.
Yes.
And on our way out, because I'm getting so tired, I've had a really crazy long day, but I love these shows. These are so fun for me. And I hope they're fun for you guys to watch. And I hope you are all having your own little qualia moments and putting the pieces together. I love all the information that Ben, Skullcap, SaVant brings to us. And I really appreciate all of you guys putting your 2 cents in. If you're firing on all cylinders, please give us your thoughts and information that you can bring to the conversation. Add those in the comments, because I think this is a community thing. Like this is like a, you know, building and putting the pieces together, like a community puzzle kind of thing. But this was very interesting. My friend Ruben shared this. If you're not following Hot Rod, Ruben Rod and SA on Twitter, please go follow him. And I heard this live, and I didn't realize it was at 1717 military time Eastern. But at the end of Trump's speech, he's talking, and then all of a sudden,
than me, you will fight, and you will win, win. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our. Braver than me.
was that an
You will-
yes?
Or he just mic dropped so hard that they had to bleep out everything he said because he was just like,
I was like, did he just cuss it out?
what did he say? Something. One of those two was the impetus for the beat. But yeah, that does sound like an emergency broadcast system tone. And so you watched that live, and so you.
I did.
Did you have the same conclusion when you heard it?
I had the same experience, and he's on a different channel than I am.
He's on a different channel.
Like my friend Ruben was watching on.
Oh, I see.
Right
It was
side,
so it transcended broadcast networks.
yeah, I was on Golden State Times, and because they kept talking over the mic, and they're like a not as professional channel or whatever, and he's watching on Right Side, and I was on Golden State Times, and it was on both channels.
Well, then, I wonder how many other channels that it probably made.
I don't know.
Actually, it was a common feed that they were all using.
Well, but I couldn't hear my people's voice on this. I don't know. It'd be very interesting. It's a kind of funny. Wonder what happens.
I'm gonna get down to the bottom of the
Mhm.
of the space aliens and space tech all at once. And that's what Cliff's data was saying would become prescient too, all at once, whenever it did happen, regardless of timing. I'm ready for it, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think we're here now. I mean, Well, we've been waiting for that Israeli mistake. I mean, that's bringing out the new tech, and that's, but that could also be, if what was his name? David Greer, or is it not David Greer? Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer said the way that they would expose the free energy is that they will have the alien event, because they'll say, how could that ship be sitting up there for so many days without a heat image thing, and without a heat signature, thank you, and not refueling, and just let people's critical thinking, let their mind unpack for themselves. Like, we won't even tell them, we'll just let them figure it out, and yes, we'll just say yes to them. Yep. Yep. Yes, there's aliens, and yes, there's free energy, and yes, we knew about it this whole time.
Well, I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're going to keep kayfabing for a while. I think that's the modus operandi. I think so.
I don't know.
This is going to be like 50 years worth. It's not going to be over.
Already just like been that. 50 years. It's going to be another 50 years. It's gonna be
That's for our discussion afterward, but people can kind of, I'm only going to talk to you about this for like 2 minutes. I know you're tired, but
I know I'm dying.
This is inside of a key building that has no windows. It's like in New York. It's supposedly a communications building, but nobody really knows. It's like 33 something street, 33 5th Street or something like that. Like Fifth Avenue. It's the only building that doesn't have any windows on Manhattan Island. And this this picture is in the lobby. And this has always spooked me the fuck out ever since I found this communications building with this in the lobby. Because if everybody knows, my supposition about what this whole thing behind me, that's why this painting speaks to me so much, is that Saturn and the rings around it are an apparatus, an instrument of sorts that can attenuate the ether such that it sends signals to our very ley line network, our Earth grid. And by way of this, we've coined in the vCipher community the Earth Grid Control Network. And it's made up of network bridges. And the bridges that keep our psyche into certain grooves, maybe without us being totally aware of what the ramifications of that are. And I've always also said that the moon plays a part in this as some sort of an attenuator of the wavelengths as they get here. The moon is very, very odd in its placement. We need, and it's a 28-day cycle. And remember that we've also talked about 88. 88 is the number of time that came up today and the Back to the Future thing. If you notice, this is a weird painting. Why is Saturn so prominent? The moon is there and it's tied to the Earth with an analemma, a figure 8, that's tied together with a bunch of copper communications wires.
They just are getting rid of the penny. I think there's a whole thing about copper coming up. Of course, Tesla and the copper coils, all this stuff. Like, it never ends for me. So yeah.
But this speaks to me as something that is right on the money with what it is that they're doing with the VSTEG, is that it is so ingrained in us, in addition to instrumentation that's blanketing us and doing God knows what to our bioelectric field and our senses, that we here on Earth are unsuspected with all of these effects that these secret comms are having on us,
Why do you think our electric lines are up on power poles so many feet above the Earth? They screwed with our magnetism of the Earth.
Yeah.
By putting them up in the air, right?
Doesn't help that they've got Star Wars tech that can take out twin towers and create a hurricane, then suck the energy from said hurricane up into the ionosphere and direct it cohesively down to destroy 2 buildings with. If they
don't think that was more like directed energy weapon.
It was. That's what I'm saying, though. But it's the same type of tech that I would argue would be used in your scenario of leaving no trace.
Okay.
I think it's one and the same, The
Earth behind.
I don't think it's new technology. I just think it's secret technology. The shit's been around for a while. And we've been unaware of it, and we have better tech than the rest of the world does too. Our secret programs are and this is where those pesky Germans from World War II come in, is I would argue myself that we only got the rejects or the understudies into our NASA program, the German scientists, the Werner von Braun's, the V2 Saturn rocket. The V-Steg is literally all over all of the early supposed engineering projects that NASA had. But what I think the impetus was, Lisa, I think Israel, I've told you this before, and I think Germany left the war because they created better technology than they needed to keep up with. And a big portion was left behind. But all of the equipment that mattered, all the personnel that really mattered, and all of and a huge swath of population to go along with it, to repopulate, escaped. And they couldn't be fucked with from there on in. You heard Admiral Byrd's, flotilla of 3 aircraft carrier that went down to Antarctica in 1947 and got their asses kicked by the Germans. And they were talking about flying saucers. And then the Germans flew over the White House in 1952 in a bunch of craft. They didn't do anything, but they were showing us what they had. And my suspicion is we had to play catch up to own the, and so it still boggles my mind that the Germans from World War II that escaped the war did not finish the war. There was no victory. There's a bunch of V-days that we separate, but these are all fabrications, maybe kayfabes. What was Patton pointing us to? And
that's where, like, when he talks about Angela, like, I don't know, there's something there too.
There probably is.
Something didn't go right.
I'm not even bringing a key figure like Hitler into the equation here. I'm saying the Germans at large, those that created the first exotic re-engineered technology from the ancient past. We've talked about this too. There's a reason why ISIS went and destroyed all the glyphs off of all the monoliths. What were the Germans doing in the 20s after they, in the late 20s, after they had to correct the Weimar Republic first, but all throughout the late 20s and early 30s, there's an Indiana Jones movie about this. They're going around all the ancient sites. Why are the Nazis in all the Indiana Jones movies? Because they were archaeologists looking at the past to re-engineer the technology that was there. It's a science project, and this is the Anunnurbe Society and the Thule Society, and this is where it really gets into the weeds that we don't have time for. But
I'm tired and I can't think about the Thules.
But anyway, there's your private. We just did your private session live, so at least
everybody knows. You guys saw
we
it
did
live
the cliff
here.
notes of it.
The cliff notes, but
Ah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all joining us. I appreciate you, and thank you, Skullcap, for the private.
Hopefully, everybody's appropriately fried in terms of the considerations from tonight. But
I'm sure they will.
I think you can all handle this.
Oh, they are. They're all probably way ahead of us. I think so. It's so much fun. Let us know what your favorite part was in the comments below, and please like and share this video. We'll see you guys. What is today? Oh my gosh, tomorrow's happy hour.
Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. Be safe.
Friday the 13th happy hour. I love it. Okay. We'll see you guys then. Take care, and everybody be safe this weekend. Make good choices. And happy Women's Veteran Day to two of my very favorite women veterans, Joe Casilla and Angela Jones. Much love and respect. Thank you for your service.